Ballarat and East Vic Roller Derby. Before it starts, just a quick reminder that there are amazing raffle prizes available today. So if you get a moment, head on over to the desk, get with your gold coins and get yourself a raffle ticket. There's $2 per ticket, or $3 for $5, or $7 for $10. And the raffle will be drawn at half time during the last bout, so you've got plenty of time to get your tickets. Some of the prizes include there's a body shop pack and Talk Derby to Me hamper, Rebel Sport voucher, several other hampers, kit out kits, Stranger Things pack, all kinds of fun things. So head on over and have a look at what's available. And before we start, we'll just do a quick acknowledgement of country. East Vic Roller Derby and the statewide stampede respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we train and play, the Wurundjeri and Bunurong peoples of the Kulin Nation, and pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging. East Vic would also like to thank sponsors for today, Scientology. All right, there's a minute to go, so let's just quickly run through our skater roster. Ballarat Roller Derby, the Rat Pack. Number 1, Sione. 1-2, Screamstress. 1-6, Killer Curls. 1-6-6, Birdie. 2-1-6, Baby H. 2-2, Corey. 2-6-6, Beck. 3-3, Mari. 3-8, Roast Mortem. 4-2, Rebecca. 4-7, Alice. 5-5, Snipples. 7, Nitrogen. And 9-9, Gussie. And for East Vic Roller Derby, 0-1 Bubblegum Blitz, 0-9 Nat O'Nine Tails, 1-3 Knives to Meet You, 1-4-4 Butcherbird, 2 Evie, 2-3 Nicholas Rage, 3-5-1 Push Up Ra, 4 Strawberry Short Skate, 5-5 Cupcake Fairy, 7 Jack Spite, 7-1 Pushy Tat, 7-3 Janesaw, and 8-0-6 Jira Pornstar. Looks like we're nearly ready to start. Just wait for the refs and the NSOs to be ready to go, and I'll do a shout out to our officials later on. And we're away. We've got 2-2 Corey jamming for Ballarat and 1-3 Knives to Meet You jamming for East Vic, and Corey has taken the lead. And Knives to Meet You almost out of that pack. There they go. So both jammers have made their initial pass and are ready to start scoring. Oh, wow. So Corey has points and call. So straight away, got some points and called off the jam. Ready for jam 2. So we've got Push Up Ra for East Vic coming against Sione, number 1 for Ballarat. Jam 2, and we're away. Sione taking the outside line and getting lead jammer. We're just going to have a timeout now. We're just having a bit of a timeout. While we're doing this, just a quick shout out for our officials for today. We've got Library Fine, Scare Bear, Queen Bee, Insana, Chucky, Sam, Bussy the Vampire Slayer, Killer Hertz, and Abby. And our referees, our skating officials, we've got Al, Pee-wee, 5284, Flo, Bin Dog, Lawless, and Mish Demeanor, and Gary. And we'd also like to say thanks to Beardcasts for broadcasting this amazing event. Thank you. Thanks for your patience, everyone. We're just going to spend about 5 minutes for the skaters to warm up again, and then we're going to get restarted at Jam 2. Shout out to our amazing first aid team. Thank you so much. And just to let you know, because of that timeout, we're going to have two 25-minute halves. The game's been adjusted, and there will be a 10-minute half time. So while the skaters are just warming up again, just a reminder that there is a pretty amazing raffle on today. Head over to the raffle desk and get yourself a ticket. Get your gold coins ready. There are 10 prizes up for grabs today, and the raffle will be drawn at half time during the last bout. So there's plenty of time, but you don't want to miss out. 10 prizes. There's a few body shop prizes, a Talk Derby to Me hamper, Rebel Sports voucher, Imperfect Zero hamper, a fitness pack, Kit Out kits, and Stranger Things pack. So they all sound quite fun. So head on over, get a ticket, help fundraise for roller derby in your local community. All right, and we're back on. We've got a jammer lineup. We've got 4-7 Alice for Ballarat and 1-3 Knives to Meet You for East Vic. And Ballarat has taken lead. Knives to Meet You still stuck at the back of the pack there, trying to bust their way through. Meanwhile, Alice is coming around to start scoring pass. And Knives to Meet You is out of the pack. And Alice has come through, scored some points and called off the jam. So that is jam 2 done. And at the end of that jam, the scores for Ballarat is 8 and East Vic is on no points. Let's see if they can get some in this jam. All right, on the start line we've got Corey for Ballarat and Ra for East Vic. And we're ready to go. And the jam is on. Both jammers struggling to get out. And Corey has made it down the inside line of the straight and coming around to score some points. Meanwhile, Ra is being pushed out to the first or second turn there. Ballarat blockers are recycling. Pushing out the pack there, trying to hold on. Meanwhile, Corey has sliced on through for some more points, making it look easy. And Ra is out of the pack on their initial pivot that's coming out of the back. So full complement of blockers coming back in. And that's the end of the jam. Corey calling it off after scoring a few more points. Okay, so for this jam, we've got Strawberry Shortcake number 4 for East Vic and Sione number 1 for Ballarat. Let's see if East Vic can get some points on the board. They're away. Sione try and take out the inside and then sliding over to the outside to do a nice juke to get out. Both jammers are out of the pack. Sione having taken lead. That was very close. Pack's moving pretty quickly and the jammers have got a race to get back and try and score some points. So the blockers are racing away. It's a pretty speedy pack. Sione's come through on the inside line, taking that call off just on the turn there for 4 points. All right, and East Vic has got points on the board, 1 point from that jam. Meanwhile, Ballarat is now up to 20 points. All right, we've got Alice for Ballarat and Cupcake Fairy for East Vic. Both of them stuck at the back of the pack there, trying to push through, and those Ballarat blockers are holding Cupcake Fairy all the way on the straight. Meanwhile, Alice has pushed the pack forward at the apex and made it through on the second turn. So both jammers are out. Ballarat has lead. Ballarat has broken through the pack for their first scoring pass and called it off. So that seems to be their strategy so far in this game. Try to get lead, get a couple of quick points and call off the jam before East Vic can score. And it's worked well for them. Ballarat's on 24 and East Vic is on 1. So we've got Corey up against Knives to Meet You. 5-second call. All right, Knives has taken the inside line on the straight to become the lead jammer. Beautiful bit of jamming there. And Corey has got a penalty. It looks like a forearms penalty. So Ballarat currently has no jammer and it's a power jam for East Vic. Let's see how many points they can get out of this advantage situation. right, so the East Vic skaters trying to do a bit of offense to try and help their jammer through. Nice to meet you, cutting through the middle and being pushed out to the outside and cutting around to the end to score 4 more points. Meanwhile, Ballarat is not able to score any points while Corey is in the penalty box. A little bit of offense going on and seeing if Nice to Meet You can push that pack out, and they've done it and they're through, and Corey is back on track and also now able to start scoring points. Okay, so that means Corey has made their initial pass and East Vic has called it off before Ballarat can score any points. So that was a fantastic jam for East Vic. Well done. 16 points from that jam, and Ballarat held to no points. So the score now, Ballarat 24, East Vic is on 17. All right, so we've got Cupcake Fairy and Sione both jamming. That's the 5-second call. And we're away. So the Ballarat blockers trying to hold the jammer at the jammer line. Pack's moving forward. It looks like, yep, okay. So Sione from Ballarat has got a penalty. So it's another power jam for East Vic, and Cupcake Fairy has made it out of the pack, ready to start scoring some points. Let's see how many East Vic can score while they're in this advantage situation. Coming up on the straight, on the outer straight. Pack's moving pretty fast, and Cupcake Fairy has just danced along the inside line there at the apex to score 4 more points. And these blockers trying to get themselves in formation while they wait for the jammer to re-enter. Okay, both jammers are on track now, and Sione really pushing through and really doing a great job there to get through those East Vic blockers on the outside, and has made it out for their initial pass. Meanwhile, Cupcake Fairy is stuck at the back at the straight and has called it off. So both teams taking on this points and call strategy. And quite interesting, at the end of that jam, it looks like we have now got equal scores, 24 points to both teams. So East Vic has come back from behind, and we have a timeout. Looks like an official timeout. The refs are having a chat, talking about important referee things. All right, timeout's over and we're back on. All right, Knives to Meet You for East Vic and Alice for Ballarat. Both jammers being caught in the pack here, but Alice is pushing forward at the apex to try and drag the pack out, extend the pack, and has taken lead. East Vic skaters trying to do some offense to help their jammer, who's pushing out of the pack at the same apex point. Both jammers have made it out. Alice busting through on the inside with just that one blocker to get through. Recycled. All right, calling it off. All right, lining up on the jam line, we have 2-2 Corey for Ballarat and 3-5-1 Ra for Eastvic, and we're away. So Ballarat's been taking the jammer line for their blocking pods at the start of the jams, and Eastvic's been setting up further up. Corey has just got out of the pack and taken lead. So it's interesting to see how the different blocker strategies are working on the starts. Corey's made it through for another pass. Oh, no, being recycled. Cut just on the inside line there on the apex, so Corey has to head back to the back of the pack so as not to get a penalty, but has now made it through of that extended pack. Eastvic jammers still fighting to get through those Ballarat blockers. They're pretty strong and they're doing a really good job. Corey, nice agile move there on the outside line of the straight just to take the line to get through for some more points. Eastvic jammers still trying to get through on their initial and really being held back by those two fantastic blockers there for Ballarat 9-9 and 4-2, but they have made it out. A little bit of help from offence from their own team. So both jammers are out of the pack now. Corey is scoring and Ra is ready to start scoring, finish their initial pass. Some amazing agile referee work there. Okay, so at the end of that jam, Ballarat is on 44 points and Eastvic is on 24. Just going to have a quick time out. I don't know why. All right, the timeout is done, so we're ready to get started again. All right, Sione is jamming for Ballarat and has made it through really quickly. And we've got Strawberry Shortskate for Eastvic, and who has also made it out. So both jammers are now out of the pack, and Sione is coming back to the first turn, ready to start scoring. And has a great bit of agile, spinny skating work on the apex there to get through the pack. Sione coming back for another scoring pass. Strawberry Shortcake still trying to get through those Ballarat blockers. Sione's made it through again, scoring some more points for Ballarat. And the Ballarat blockers are doing a great job of holding back Strawberry Shortskate, who has made it to the third corner, but still trying to bust through, just really pushing against those blockers. They're working together. Got a little bit of offence there from Eastvic to try and get their jammer out, and that has almost worked. One more blocker to get past, but knocked out a track on the inside line. All right, and Sione has called off the jam, but not before Eastvic could score 4 points. And 16 points for Ballarat for that last jam. So Cupcake Fairy for Eastvic and Alice lining up for Ballarat. All right, Alice is taking the inside line, busted through to get to the Eastvic blockers. Meanwhile, Cupcake Fairy taking that inside line and getting lead. So just pushed the pack out onto the apex and was able to drag the blockers apart. Meanwhile, all right, Alice has now got a penalty and has in fact got 2 penalties. So Alice is going to be sitting for 1 minute, which is a really great opportunity for East Vic to score lots of points, while Ballarat cannot score any points because their jammer is in the penalty box. All right, the jam's been called off. So Ballarat's going to start with their jammer, and it looks like 1 pivot, I think, in the penalty box. Sorry, I haven't got the best view. So it's a power jam start for East Vic. Knives to Meet You is going to try to get out of the pack really fast while they've got this blocker advantage. Score as many points as they can. So Ballarat's only got 3 blockers on track, so they're going to have to do some good defence to try and stop East Vic from racking up the points too fast. Doing a good job just knocking the jammer out on the outside line and then on the inside line. Keeping everyone in play. All right, Knives to Meet You has made it out on the inside line of the second turn and is coming back to start scoring some points. So the East Vic skaters are going to do some offence by the looks of it, try and break up the Ballarat blockers so that their jammer can make lots of points and get the easiest pass through the pack, and it has been successful. Knives to Meet You making it through that pack again. Meanwhile, the Ballarat jammer has just come out of the pack. Sorry, out of the penalty box. Okay, so both jammers are on track now and points are being scored. Knives to Meet You pushed out on the outside line there, but recycling back in really quickly. Oh, bit of jammer on jammer action. That's always fun to see at the apex there. And Knives to Meet You just calling it off before Alice can score any points. So score check, Ballarat is on 60 and East Vic is on 39. All right, for this jam, we've... Oh, hang on, there's a timeout. Looks like a team timeout for Ballarat, the black team. All right, team timeout is over and we're back on. And the jam is on. Number 1, Sione for Ballarat and 55 Cupcake Fairy for East Vic. Both jammers still trying to get through the blocking packs. Sione has pushed the jammers out to the apex and bust through on the inside line to get lead jammer. Cupcake Fairy's just got 2 blockers to beat now and has been knocked out on the inside, so will have to be recycled. It's a bit sad when you're trying to get through and you end up having to go back to where you started from. Meanwhile, Sione is scoring points. So Cupcake Fairy trying to push through on the inside line there, just at the third turn, and the East Vic blockers stopping Sione in her tracks before she can get through for more points. So both blocking pods doing a bit of recycling, a bit of shuffling around to try and stop the respective opposition jammers. Okay, both teams have got people in the penalty box, so not necessarily an advantage. Oh, East Vic's jammers, blockers are all out of the box now, so they do have the blocker advantage. Okay, and that jam has been called. So just a quick score check. Ballarat's on 72 and East Vic is on 39 points. Just going to have a bit of a timeout while we check everything is okay. All right, and we're back. So we have Corey jamming for Ballarat up against Nice to Meet You for East Vic. And East Vic has, oh no, it's a penalty. So it looked like they got, I think they looked like they got lead, but it was a penalty. So that means Corey has now been assigned lead jammer, and it's a power jam. Corey giving some instructions to their blockers to push through. All right, so the Ballarat blockers are doing some great offense for Corey, who's signalling, hey, get up, get through, break up that pack, and makes it easy for Corey to get through. Nice to Meet You has come back on track and has come back in front of Corey and has drawn a back block on Corey. So now the Ballarat jammer is in the penalty box and the East Vic jammer, Nice to Meet You, is on a power jam. There is no lead in this jam now, so we'll get a whole 2 minutes of play. Pack's moving pretty fast. Try and get a bit of speed to stop those jammers from able to get past you. But Knives has pushed the pack forward and really... and they have been pushed out on the inside line and forced to recycle, which gives the... And thank you to Beardcasts for streaming the event today as well. All right, we're back from the official review. Sorry, I was distracted. So Ballarat has made it out of the pack. The Jammer has made it out of the pack, but unfortunately got what appears to be a forearms penalty. So Alice is heading into the penalty box. And that means that East Vic has a lead jammer for Strawberry Shortskate. See if they can take advantage of the power jam situation. But Ballarat does have a bit of a blocker advantage. It's going to be a bit tricky for Strawberry Shortskate, but she's coming around back to the apex to try and push through. A bit of offense there from the East Vic skaters to open up the outside line at the apex, and Strawberry Shortskate has made it look easy coming around the outside line. The blockers for both teams are resetting just at the jammer line here. Alice has come back out of the penalty box ready to start scoring some points and has made it through the blockers. Meanwhile, Strawberry Shortskate has got stuck back behind the Ballarat blockers and is trying to make it through to score some more points. So the pack is now over on the straightaway and Alice has made it through. Meanwhile, Strawberry Shortskate is still getting stuck behind those Ballarat blockers who are really holding it down, really doing some reforming as they get broken up by the offence, coming back together. But East Vic, Strawberry Shortskate has called off the jam. So both teams scoring in that last jam. All right, now, looks like we've got some people in the penalty box. But we've got Sione jamming for Ballarat and Knives to Meet You jamming for East Vic. So both jammers are still in the pack, but Sione has just made it out on the outside line at the first turn. Both teams with blockers in the penalty box, so there's a bit of a disadvantage there. And Sione just hitting the back of that tripod really hard and calling it off before East Vic can score any points. So both teams really making good use of their lead jammer statuses and calling off the jam in a way that prevents the other team from scoring any points. So it's working for both teams today. And we've got Corey jamming for Ballarat. Oh, no, hang on. Oh, hold on. Half time. All right, enjoy yourself in these break. The half time is going to be 10 minutes. Remember, we have reduced the time for half time. So you've got 10 minutes to get a snack, go to the toilet, buy a raffle ticket, whatever you need to do, and we'll be back soon. period 2. And already Corey from Ballarat has taken the lead jammer. Meanwhile, we got Strawberry Short Skate still trying out of the pack skating. Corey didn't even down, just busting back there on the second turn, scoring some points. Meanwhile, Cake is getting recycled to the back of the pack there by the Ballarat blockers. Ballarat blockers been really strong today, just really holding down the jammers. Bit of offense coming through for East Vic, and Strawberry Shortcake has made it out of the pack but is being chased down. But no, sorry, Ballarat blockers cannot continue when there's no pack. Corey baking it through on the outside line, just a jammer line, and calling off the jam. So 12 points for Ballarat there, brings Ballarat's score over 100. They're now on 104. East Vic at 51 points. All right, so we've got Sione, number 1, jamming for Ballarat, and 5-5 Cupcake Fairy for East Vic. And the jam timer has started the jam. So Sione taking out the outside line on the first turn and being awarded lead jammer. Meanwhile, East Vic is not too far behind, having broken through the pack round at the second turn. All the blockers from both teams reforming, but Sione has called off the jam. Once again, we're seeing both teams really taking advantage of having lead and just scoring a quick few points and calling off the jam, trying to prevent the other team from scoring any points at all. So it's been pretty quick jams we've had throughout this game. All right, Knives to meet you for East Vic and Alice for Ballarat. And that whistle means we are away. Knives to meet you taking the outside line very quickly, taking lead jammer, but Alice is also out of the pack. So both jammers are out. Nice to meet you. Just getting some feedback from the bench about what she should be doing, and she has broken out of the pack, chased down by the blockers, but they cannot keep chasing for too long. And that looks like Alice, the Ballarat jammer, has got a penalty and is heading to the penalty box. Oh, all right, we're going to have a jammer bounce. Get ready for this, sports fans. What a quirk of roller derby. So Alice is back on track because you can't really play the game with no jammer. So they're not sitting the full penalty. They're both jammers are just doing the amount of time that Alice sat. Alice has made it through and started scoring points. And Knives to Meet You has also got through the pack there, busting through on the straightaway to score another 4 points. Alice hitting the back of the wall there and breaking through on the first turn. And East Vic Skaters doing a little bit of offense to try and break up the Ballarat blocking pod, which was successful because Knives to Meet You has made it through on the inside line, but has just taken a quick stumble, but is away, has made it out of the pack. East Vic blockers just trying to hold on to Alice there at the third turn, and the pack is moving forward, so Alice is pushing past a few, but the pack is coming with her. Just got to push past one more and Alice is away. Meanwhile, we've got Knives to Meet You still at the back of the pack there, trying to get through those Ballarat blockers, taking the inside line, but the jam has been called off. Pretty high scoring jam, that one. East Vic getting 14 points and Ballarat getting 12. we've got Cupcake Fairy for East Vic and Corey for Ballarat. There's our 5-second call. And that whistle means we are away. Corey taking the outside line, Cupcake Fairy taking the in. And it's worked best for Corey, who has managed to get out of the pack. And Cupcake Fairy also getting out of the pack in the same place at the outside line of the first turn. So a good spot for both jammers. The pack is moving up. Jammers are chasing that pack. Corey hitting the back of the pack and calling off the jam. Quick score check. Ballarat is on 121. East Vic is on 65 points. All right, this jam, we've got Strawberry Short Skate lining up for East Vic and Sione for Ballarat. And that whistle, and we're away. So Strawberry Short Skate is stuck at the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Sione has taken the lead out of the front of the pack. Strawberry Shortcake on the outside line and through all of the blockers to commence their scoring pass. And the Ballarat jammer has been assessed a back block penalty and will need to go and sit down in the penalty box. So that is an advantage for East Vic. Ballarat's not able to score any points. Meanwhile, East Vic can continue to score points if the jammer can just get through those blockers. Strawberry Short Skate getting through on the apex on the third turn and coming back for some more. Ballarat skaters Ballarat blockers trying to get rid of some of that East Vic offence, trying to shake it off and maintain their position. Sione has come back on track to block for Ballarat, and a nice bit of agile manoeuvring around the outside line at the first turn to get through the East Vic blockers. All right, both jammers at the back of the pack now. As the pack moves forward, Sione has taken the inside line and cut through for 4 more points. But East Vic jammer still stuck at the back there as the Ballarat blockers continue to reform in front. Ballarat blockers today have been really good. Every time they get broken up, they just come back together and force that reform. Meanwhile, Sione is out on her own, scoring points. Strawberry Short Skate with just a couple of blockers to get through, but that reforming from Ballarat is working really well once again and calling the suck back. But that's the end of the jam. All right, we've got push-up Ra for East Vic and Corey jamming for Ballarat. Let's see what happens. East Vic with the blocker advantage because Ballarat's got 2 in the penalty box starting that jam. So East Vic recycled Corey, forced them to the back of the pack, but Corey says, sorry, I don't care, I'm going to keep going anyway. Meanwhile, East Vic jammer push-up Ra has been assessed a penalty and is going to be sitting in the penalty box for a little while, just giving Corey opportunity to keep scoring points. No pack call, so the blockers cannot engage the jammer, meaning Corey can just break through quite easily. All right, now it's Ballarat with the blocker advantage. As Corey hits the back of the pack, those East Vic blockers have got to hold on. Corey has broken through and called off the jam. And East Vic's jammer is still in the penalty box. So that's going to be a power jam start for Ballarat. We've got number 4-7, Alice, who's going to be starting as the jammer for Ballarat, who's going to try and take advantage of the power jam start. Ballarat skaters don't have to block a jammer, so they can just do offense and try and help their jammer through. So let's see what they do. So the Ballarat blocker's just holding back because the big jammer is straight on. Didn't spend much time in the penalty box after the start of the jam, but Alice has still managed to get lead. So really taking advantage of the power jam start to have that lead jammer power. Taking the outside line there on the first turn, just slicing through the pack quite easily. Didn't even have to slow down. Good job, Alice. Okay, there's been a star pass for East Vic. Knives to Michu is now the jammer. Meanwhile, Alice is being told by the bench, call it off, call it off. And Alice at the third turn there has called off the jam, preventing East Vic from scoring any points. Quick score check now. Ballarat is on 149, East Vic on 69. Some kind of timeout. Oh, East Vic has called a team timeout, so they're going to have a minute and they can use that to have a chat, talk about what to do next. Okay, the timeout is over and both teams are back on, and Sione has taken the outside line, spun around the blockers on the first turn and taken lead jammer. All right, meanwhile, East Vic jammer is still stuck in the pack, trying to get through. Sione has sliced on through. All right, Cupcake Fairy is now also out, so both jammers out, and East Vic with the the blocker advantage with 4 blockers. Ballarat has only got 2 blockers on track at the moment, so it's a bit harder for them to block. They don't have all of their support. And Sione, the jammer for Ballarat, has been sent to the penalty box. So this is a big advantage for East Vic. They've got the only jammer on track and they've got all the blockers on track. The pack is moving up a bit, getting a bit faster. You can't score points without passing, so I guess if you just stay in front the whole time and run away, then they can't score your point. But it hasn't been successful because Cupcake Fairy still made it through. And the Ballarat blockers are also now back on track, so the blocker advantage is gone. And Sione is back on track as well to jam for Ballarat and has taken the inside line there just at the jammer line to get through with some nice offensive assist there from the Ballarat blocker. Sione hitting the back of that pack quickly and just juking round on the inside line. Both teams scoring points at the moment. There's no lead jammer because Sione got that penalty, so we had to wait the full 2 minutes to get that whole jam done. Pretty high scoring jam then. which means Ballarat is now at 165 and East Vic is at 83 points. And we're doing what is this? Official timeout. Oh, fun. So an official timeout is a timeout for the officials to chat about things, make sure things are running smoothly and running correctly. There is no such thing as an unofficial timeout. All timeouts are official, but not all of them are for officials. Okay, the timeout's finished. We've got 5 seconds called there by the jam timer. Let's wait for that whistle to blow. There it is, and we're away. Oh, Corey just doing a little bit of blocking on the East Vic jammer while they're also trying to get through the pack. So Corey, a few hits there to Knives to Meet You, successfully got them out of the way and also managed to get lead jammer. So interesting move there on the starting line. Knives to Meet You, however, has made it out and has getting ready to score some points. But Corey has called off the jam, successfully using lead jammer status to prevent the other team from scoring any points. So 4-0 from that jam. All right, now we've got Alice for Ballarat and Push-Up Bra from East Vic. 5-second call there from the jam timer. And we're away. Alice taking the outside line. Push-Up Bra getting stuck at the back, doing a little bit of lateral movement to try and get some space, try and open up those blockers. The Ballarat blockers are really forming quite a strong tripod and not letting her through. Meanwhile, Alice has broken out of the pack at the second turn and is getting ready to start scoring some points. Push-Up Brass just made it through on the inside line with a bit of a spin around the blocker, a little bit of backwards skating to stay in bounds. But Alice has also scored some points and has called it off. Great, so this jam we've got Strawberry Short Skate for East Vic and Sione for Ballarat. Looks like there's one East Vic blocker in the penalty box, which means that Ballarat has the blocker advantage. They can have full complement of blockers doing defence and even have a spare blocker to do offence. It's worked well because Sione has made it out of the pack. However, East Vic has lead. Just getting told from the bench to call it off. So Strawberry Short Skate calling off the jam before scoring any points. Okay, we've got Cupcake Fairy for East Vic and Corey for Ballarat. There's no one in, so both teams with all of their blockers ready to go. Corey taking the outside line and getting out of the pack on the first turn, getting lead jammer. Meanwhile, Cupcake Fairy is still trying to bust through the pack at the back there. Those Ballarat blockers holding the line really well. Corey has only got to get past a couple more blockers, just pushing their way through and taking the outside line there on the straightaway to score some more points. Cupcake Fairy getting recycled around, getting stuck and getting hit out on the inside line, having to re-enter behind all of those blockers. No pack call means that the East Vic blockers need to let Corey through. You cannot continue to block if there is no pack. Cupcake Fairy just hitting one Ballarat blocker to get through. But Ballarat blockers are doing a great job of reforming and getting back together. So Cupcake Fairy is still getting stuck behind. Corey taking a whip off their teammate and coming through on the inside line there on third turn to score a few more points. Cupcake Fairy is having a really tough time there, getting some offensive assistance from their blockers, but still having to get through these Ballarat blockers who are doing, once again, a great job of reforming in front of the jammer. And they're forcing the jammer to recycle. And that's the end of that jam. All right, after that timeout, we are back on. Bit of a stumble-bumble there at the straightaway, but Alice for Ballarat has taken lead jammer. And Nice to Meet You is also out of the pack, so both jammers are out, ready to start scoring some points. Alice is just breaking through that last East Vic blocker and has called off the jam. East Vic was able to score 1 point from that jam. All right, so Ballarat with the blocking advantage with one East Vic skater in the penalty box. Sione has broken through on the outside line of the first turn there through the East Vic blockers to get through. East Vic trying to do some offensive work to help their own jammer through. And great work keeping Sione back on the inside line there of turn 1. But Sione is again doing some groovy little spins and twirls to break on through to score 4 points. East Vic jammers also made it out of the pack on the inside line for their initial pass. All right, Sione taking the inside line and calling it off, while Strawberry Short Skate just making it up to the pack, but not fast enough to score any points on that last pass. Okay, quick score check. Ballarat is now on 208 points and East Vic is on 84. Okay, both teams have got skaters in the penalty box. A timeout has been called. Not sure what's happening. All right, timeout over, and we're back on. Nice to meet you for East Vic and Corey for Ballarat. And that whistle means we are on. Both jammers taking the middle, but Corey is now on the outside trying to break through on the first turn successfully. Now has lead jammer. Meanwhile, Nice to Meet You is still stuck at the back, but spinning through the inside line of turn 1 to get their initial pass. So the blockers from both teams have got a disadvantage. Both teams have got one skater in the penalty box, so the blockers are trying to reform, but Corey has called off the jam, leaving one East Vic blocker in the penalty box, so Ballarat will maintain the blocker advantage into the next jam. All right, so Ballarat's got Alice lining up on the jammer line, and East Vic has Strawberry Short Skate. 5 seconds there, called by the jam timer. And we're away. Alice taking the outside line to get through and get lead jammer, and some great offensive work from the East Vic blockers means that Strawberry Short Skate is also able to get out of the pack on that outside line. Alice hitting the pack, getting past a few pairs of hips and calling off the jam. So successfully 2 points for Ballarat there, but preventing East Vic from scoring any points. All right, Ballarat's got Sione jamming, and Eastvic has Knives to meet you. 5 seconds there from the jam timer. Okay, so Sione's being held at the back there, while Knives to meet you's up at the front part of the pack there. Both jammers taking the outside line, trying to break through, and both breaking through at around the same time. However, Sione for Ballarat has taken lead jammer. Knives to meet you is not far behind. Blockers are trying to reform, get themselves back together before the opposition jammer gets to the pack. Sione getting knocked out on the inside line and deciding to call it off. Not long now left of this game. Ballarat is on 210 points. Eastvic is on 84. All right, push-up Ra for Eastvic is lining up against Corey for Ballarat. 5 seconds call. And we are away. Corey pushing through the middle of those Eastvic blockers, and Ra getting stuck behind as those Ballarat blockers do a great job of reforming. Corey has made it through around on the apex. Push-up Ra has got a penalty. Okay, so it's a great advantage for Corey. Has a power jam situation. Dancing along the inside line there of the straightaway, scoring 4 more points. And Ballarat's going to be trying to do a bit of offense to make life really quick and easy for Corey so that they can break through and score points, as many as they can, before the Eastvic jammer comes back onto the track. So Ballarat skaters just keeping a nice slow pack, doing a bit of offense, trying to force the Eastvic jammers to stretch the pack out and try and bridge so they don't get a no pack call. However, there it is, not out of play, which means they cannot engage the jammer, and Corey has made it through. Meanwhile, Eastvic jammer has made it back on the track and is trying to get through there on the inside line, back to the middle, and both jammers being held there by effective blocking for both teams. All right, push-up Ra just getting pushed out at the line there and having to recycle. Meanwhile, Corey is continuing to just rack up those points. This will be the last jam of the game. So how many points can you score in one jam? There's only 10 seconds left. So another 4 points for Corey. Push-up Ra is really struggling there, trying to push through all the Ballarat blockers, but that is the end of the game. So unofficial score, Ballarat 230, Eastvic 84. Congratulations, both teams. Well done, all the skaters. Thank you, officials and referees. Thank you, first aiders. Thank you, photographers. I've been Claire. Nice to speak to you. Bye.